Says it's being live streamed on YouTube.
All right, welcome in. We are being live streamed on YouTube. It is the ATB show at the buzzer. Adam, Billy Corey, Rubber Shoes is in the building, and Little Shoes is in the building today as well. Little Shoes, fresh off the office. Oh boy, we've got some feedback. Hold the phone here. All right, there we go. And so we are talking about sports today, but I'm a little discombobulated, obviously, because we're trying to do the YouTube live thing without Timmy. And Timmy's our, guru of the live.
Kind of holds everything together. So
he's the glue that holds everything together. And so we're, flopping around here a little bit, but hopefully we're on YouTube. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to jump over to atbshow.com so you can check out our Instagram. You can get the show as a podcast if you'd rather take it with you wherever you go. And if you're on atbshow.com, click on our Instagram where you can check out the Rubber Shoes rant and wrap up every weekday morning. Is it weekday mornings or every morning?
Every morning.
Oh,
every morning.
Oh, yeah. You got to do it on Saturday and Sunday. That's when the big news happens. All right. And that's brought to you by AAA Work Trucks. Rubber Shoes, also a fine employee of AAA Work Trucks, as is Mother Shoes. So, we got the whole thing locked down. So go to atbshow.com. You get everything you need right there. Make sure you subscribe and like the show and tell your friends about it as well. All right, fellas, let's get into it. We've got lots of Red Sox to talk about. Rubber Shoes, I feel like you're amped up for a rant of your own this afternoon. You've got your marathon jersey on, which I love. Probably my favorite, alternative.
I was the only one that liked them since day one. I swear.
I liked it from day one, but I think that the most of the alternative jerseys that just gets too much. But I do like the
those.
I like
the best. The White Sox ones are the best.
The white. I haven't seen
the South Side.
ones,
those are the best ones by far.
Oh, I haven't seen those. I'll have
those ones are. They're like a gray pinstripe and it just has South Side.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I do like that actually. All right, Rubber Shoes. Just rip on how you're feeling about the Sox. I know last week we talked about how they're doing all right, but
I wasn't that angry this morning when I did the wrap up, and then I just sat down. And so the one of the local sports shows is live on.
Yeah, don't plug the competition
on one of the channels. So I sat down and was watching that before I got on, and they got me a little heated.
All right, what are you worried about?
Sit back, relax, let's hear it.
Right. Just to remind everybody, last week Rubber Shoes was like, hey, all we have to do is win every series. That's all we have to do. We don't have to win. We don't have to sweep every series. We just have to win every series. Yeah. And that's what they were doing. So what are you all worked up about now?
They won 7 series in a row. They actually won 7 games in a row until they went to Toronto. Toronto, they've just lost 2 games, so they can't win the series because the third game's tonight. They have 2 players that are not with the team because they're not vaccinated. Because in Canada, you still, if you're a visiting person or player, I think it's a person to the country, period, you need to be vaccinated.
Okay.
So Tanner Houck and Jaron Duran did not make the trip because they are not vaccinated. And I just found out that Chris Sale is not vaccinated. So when he comes back, he will not be able to go to Toronto unless he changes status. Which it did it. I believe that it's fine. You make your choice. It is what it is. But so I just found out while I was watching that other show that the way the playoff format is set up for baseball, it's so I believe the top 2 or 3 divisional teams, they get a bye, and then is the 4th division team and then 3 wild card teams.
Are they doing the play-in again?
No, so it's a play-in series now.
Oh, I liked the one
not
game
a play-in game.
Oh, it's becoming like the NBA
3
playoffs.
series, and the home team. So the 3rd and 4th seed get home field advantage, but it's all 3 games.
What?
All 3 games will be.
That's so dumb.
So if the playoffs started today,
Your favorite saying. Yep.
we would be playing the Toronto Blue Jays in Canada for 3 games.
And we would have no sale.
And no Sale,
And we
no
would
Tanner
lose.
Houck. And I know right now, Jaron Duran, you're like, oh, big whoops. Well, he's actually been pretty good since he's been called up. He's batting over 300 as our leadoff hitter. He's been pretty good. So that may be
A problem.
Yeah,
This was a thing around the NBA playoffs too, right? Remember that guy from Philly who couldn't play in the Raptors series. Like, when do we get back to a point where it's just like, well, do we check everybody's vaccination status on everything? Like every potential vaccine that's out there, and if you don't have it, you can't go to these games. It's like, all right, they made it. I agree with you, Rubber Shoes. They made a choice. I think it's a dumb choice. Like, just take care of it so you can play. But nonetheless, they made a choice. And why can't we just loosen those restrictions now? You've got 80,000 people coming into a stadium, right? And there's no, I don't know, in Canada, they probably are checking vaccination cards. But I know in the United States, I don't think they are anymore at stadiums.
Even like at the
we're definitely
peak.
past that.
Yeah,
Right.
like even like I went to a concert in March and they didn't check anything. And
Right.
yeah,
But so the thing with Canada is like 2 years behind
a lot.
us.
Correct.
Yeah. With
Also,
everything.
quick breaking news. It's not Boston sports related, but it is NBA. DeJounte Murray just got traded to the Hawks for Gallinari.
Oh, we are going to touch on free agency in just a little while. So save
Did you
that
also
for...
before the show, Harden opted out of his player option.
Oh,
as
okay.
well.
All right. So
But-
let's stay on. Let's stay on Canada for a second. So Rubber Shoes, you were saying that they're 2 years behind us. And
that's what it feels like. Canada's like a couple years behind us. Like we're still. I have a couple vendors that I deal with. AAA work trucks that are in Canada, and I've had sales reps come down and they're like, oh my God, for them to still cross the border, they have to get COVID checked before they leave the country, and then they have to get COVID checked before they return to the country.
Well, we just did away with that on planes, like 2 months ago or even a month ago. It wasn't that
I
long
haven't traveled.
ago. Neither have I.
I've been on a plane once since 9/11, and it had nothing to do with 9/11, but that's
just the way it has worked out.
My wife and I are both not big fans of flying. So
where did you go?
I've never been on a flight in my life.
Wow.
And Tyler's never been on a flight. So where
did you go on an airplane? One time.
Chicago. We flew to Chicago to drive my brother-in-law's U-Haul truck back from Chicago.
Oh, so it wasn't even a vacation or anything. It was just like
we did a little sightseeing while we were there. We had never been to Chicago before, so we got a quick tour. But it was basically go out there, help them pack the truck, and drive it back.
Any vacation or anything you go on is a road trip?
Just possible. Yep.
We've gone.
Well, actually, I've been one other time. So Mother Shoes and I went to Chicago, and then I had for business trip, I had to go to Washington D.C. once. So that was a round trip flight that I did.
But we is the longest the Canada one. Like the way back was like 12, 13 hours. I remember.
Yeah, we if we go to Toronto, we drive. It's 12 hours each way.
The time we got pulled over when we got back at like 3 a.m. and you were very tired from driving. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, and we just get to Niagara Falls, on the Canada side, and we pulled over at a hotel to see how much it was, and apparently I shut my lights off. And we're like, oh, we'll try somewhere else. I hopped back in the car and flipped the UE in the middle of the street and didn't have my lights on. And the cop pulled us over. I was like, oh, he's like, you don't have your lights on. Like
a Mountie pulled you over.
Yeah.
Did you get hit with a ticket or no?
No. He was fine.
Oh, that's cool.
I explained,
you're like, I'm a member of the Lowell Fire Department. Do you know what that is?
Yeah. I just got through my
I may represent
my first responder card out,
Yeah. So Little Shoes, where's the furthest that you've been from? Is it Toronto? Is that the furthest you've been from Lowell?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of a tie. So it's probably like Virginia Beach, and Toronto. It's probably mile wise. It's probably pretty close to the same.
Yeah. I've been on I fly relatively frequently, but I haven't flown since COVID happened, so I don't really know what the deal is now. I do know that they just sort of did away with that rule. It's so strange to me that we've sort of moved on here in the United States. Like a lot, you don't hear. I mean, the rest of the world, you're still hearing like daily counts, and
But it's legitimately like until this conversation, like I forget it exists. Like in general,
that's what I'm saying.
it's
It's
nothing
so weird.
in like it doesn't circulate in our normal day anymore. Where
there'll be a spike in sports, like all of a sudden, the
Right.
you guys
A
get it
handful
on
of
a
guys will
team,
get it. Yeah.
which I'm waiting for them to move on from that. It's so I know for me, Tyler, my wife, everyone at all my jobs, pretty much everyone who's got it in the last year has been, different degrees of the flu. Basically, some people
Yeah.
get it really like nothing, and some get, it's a day in bed or whatever. But nothing. Haven't heard of anyone even being hospitalized. I know, yes, it's a big deal for people that do have conditions that they have to worry about. Yes, but
Of course.
if a major league baseball team, most of those got like that, you have to put them on the COVID IL still seems ridiculous.
For days, right? Isn't it still
Yeah.
like 7 or 10 days they got to
I
be
know
on it?
there. So it's 10 days, but they have ways of getting back sooner. Like some guys get put on it, and it's not like the IL where you have to stay on for at least 10 days. This one, it's like you put on it just so they can make a move to bring a guy on to fill your spot.
Yeah.
But if you go through test within the next 24 hours and pass the test, you can be activated again. Because I think that happened to JD Martinez. He missed one game and then he was back the next day because he had symptoms when he showed up to the park. They probably tested him. They didn't have the results back yet.
Right.
Then he was cleared to play the next day.
Well, remember in the NBA playoffs, there was a whole bunch of different things that happened. Horford had to sit out for a game at the start of the series. People were talking about how the Suns had an outbreak of COVID and they just played, and that's why they stunk it up against Dallas in that last game.
That's still one unsung how bad of a collapse of a team that is.
It was
like
terrible,
that is like royally historically awful, and I feel like it kind of got pushed
if they
aside.
all had COVID or there was a huge COVID outbreak and they played through it, I mean, you can kind of see, you're playing elite athletes. If you're half of what you normally are, you could conceivably get destroyed in
they got destroyed by someone that apparently is worth $100 million. I don't know where that came from, but
I know. All right, well, I brought up. It's my own fault. I brought up the NBA.
So,
I can't stop talking about it.
We've lost 2 in a row to Toronto.
Yeah.
We play
Yeah.
a third game tonight. Hopefully we eliminate the sweep tonight by winning. And then they come back to the States and they'll have their regular roster back. And we have so I haven't had an update on Evaldi, but I heard he had a setback last week. So he may still be a few weeks away. Garrett Whitlock should be close to coming back. Sale, I would think Sale is probably going to be back after the All-Star break. He's already started doing some like rehab starts I think he's doing a rehab start in Portland, I think, this week possibly.
I have to say, I'm having a little bit of deja vu with this Sale situation though.
I know.
Last year it was the exact same thing.
So the thing with Sale this year, so last year he was coming back from Tommy John surgery. Right. So his arm wasn't 100% back. This year it's something else. His arm has had no problems this spring or any time right now.
Right.
So it's just those ribs that he cracked. That's what he's coming back from. So
so you're more optimistic this year.
Yes, I think he'll be a better pitcher when he gets back this year than he was last year.
We'll hope. Are you guys have any plans to go to any games the rest of the season?
So the thing with baseball now, so before, for years, every game was sold out. So it's pretty much You just had to, when they went on sale, you go out, you buy them when they go on sale, and you just hope it's nice weather. Now that they don't sell out, we kind of pick and choose. We're like, oh, we have this weekend off. It's going to be nice Saturday. You want to go to the game? Okay. So that's kind of how we're not pre-planning games right now.
Yeah.
We're picking and choosing depending on weather and stuff. And I mean, the last game we went to was a gorgeous day.
That was probably the end. Like we killed them. That was a like perfect storm of everything.
This year was it this year?
Yeah.
Yes.
Last
okay.
last month.
Oh, all right. So how many games do you typically get to during the year?
2 to 3.
Okay, all right. So
It's not like a set thing. It's just something that happens.
Yeah. If it
sometimes.
comes
And I'm
up, yeah.
thinking, so last year we went to the training camp for the Patriots, which was a blast. I think
Right.
Once they come out with the schedule, that might
we
be
gotta
something
do that again.
to
Yeah.
try to get back to.
Back to the.
No, we don't
training
have
camp,
any.
yeah.
It's like we have week. I took from the fire department. I have every weekend off for the whole summer, so we're just kind of winging it and
Oh, that's
see
cool.
what we want to do.
We were this close to going to a Woo Sox game last weekend, but I don't know what happened. The people that we were going to go with backed out after, last minute or whatever. But I definitely want to get up there. That I've heard that the stadium is so amazing. I think it was you that told me that.
Yeah, the stadium, and even the I don't know the last time you've been to Worcester, but the whole between the Polar Park and the DCU Center, they've built up everything around there. There's new restaurants and shops, and also it's nice. There is still in like center field of the park, there's still a little sketchy area that they're trying to fix up, but overall the area between the park and the DCU Center is really nice.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm definitely going to get to a game. I was actually in Western Mass, but we just didn't end up going to a Woo Sox game. But what do you guys got planned for the 4th of July? Are you in the parade, Rubber Shoes?
No.
Oh, you're not?
No, that's it. I'm in. Chelmsford does the Chelmsford parade.
Yeah, I know. I just sometimes neighboring towns bring their fire departments, don't they?
No, we have to keep them in service.
Oh, all right. Well,
they have like some old antique fire trucks, I think that go
that they bring down.
Yeah.
So you're not going to even go to the parade? You don't go to the 4th of July parade in Chelmsford anymore?
No, not really. My wife and son are not parade people. I grew up
anti-parade.
I grew up going to all that stuff. He actually. So my mother used to live on the route for so Memorial Day they would switch. Are you from Chelmsford, Adam?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know how Memorial Day every other year. So one year it would be in Chelmsford Center, the other year would be like Groton Road, Vinyl Square.
Yeah.
So my mother lived on the route for the Vinyl Square one.
Okay.
So when it was that year, he would go and watch it when he was a little kid from the front yard.
Tyler would.
Yep.
And now you're not a big parade fan, Tyler?
I never said I was anti-parade. I don't know where that came from. For 4th of
July,
I want
to go to 4th of July.
You should take him this weekend.
I am going to work.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's working.
Yeah.
What day is the parade? Is the parade on Monday now? I forget. They do it on Monday. Okay.
They usually try to do it on the 4th, but I think it's where, like, if the 4th is on the weekend and they have the Monday or Friday off to observe the holiday, sometimes they might move it that way.
Yeah.
Usually they try to have it on the 4th.
Do they still do the 3rd of July at the Common? Where they have like the festival and everything?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, the night before.
Yeah,
I think they still do that.
That was almost my favorite part. That part was almost better than the parade, I thought.
Yeah.
I mean, the parade was fun too, but all right. So the Red Sox are what do we got? Like 2 weeks left before the All-Star break? Must be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say right about that.
All right. So we need to win all the series between now and then, I would say, in order to keep our head above water.
Right now they are sitting, so they were the top wild card spot and second place in the East until they lost these two against Toronto, and now they're the second. They have the second wild card spot and they're third in the East right now, but they're only like a half a game behind Toronto.
I just worry that I just don't want us to have to go to Toronto in the playoffs. It sounds terrible.
Well, I mean, that's so. And another thing I found out, for them to sign Trevor Story, they made Trevor Story get vaccinated before they would sign him. And Xander Bogaerts actually reached out to him and said, look, I'm getting vaccinated also. It's a big deal for us. We want to be all good to go for the playoffs. And then you have, two guys on the team that aren't. You make a guy do it to get signed, and then you got guys that aren't. And so the reason why it's a big deal is because last night Tanner Houck has been our closer the last 3 weeks or so, and last night was a situation where they needed their closer and they lost. They were winning 4-3, 5-4. They were winning by a run going into the 9th inning, and they lost.
Right.
They blew it in the 9th.
You can't be without your closer. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's like, I know a closer is not what it used to be, but you still can't be without a guy in the 9th inning to close it out.
Like if I'm Trevor Story, I'm like, I'd be kind of peeved. That's like, oh, you guys made me get it, but Duran can't. It's like this
100%.
guy that's not on my level is able to just not be it. It's like that's.
Man, I don't think he's not a big.
He's
deal,
not the type of person that I'm saying.
But now, if he's going to be part of the team going forward, then it's a big deal. And I mean, Sale and Houck are definitely big deals. But
right. I mean, I agree with you. The Little Shoes, though, I would be pissed. I mean, it's like I didn't want to get it.
If it's someone like me personally that like I feel indifferent about the situation, and I just happen to have not gotten it, and then they told me.
Right.
And I wouldn't have a problem with getting it, but I'd still be annoyed that like you went out of your way to be like, we're not signing you unless you do this. But then someone else on this team that is clearly not as good as me is able to just not.
Also, it's somewhat bananas that we're still talking about this stuff. I mean, it really is. It's like, just let's be over with it, for God's sake.
Let's just cut Canada off. There you go.
Well, I don't know about that, but
I feel it should be treated like the flu at this point.
Right. Yeah, I mean, people that were saying it was like the flu at the very beginning, that was a little bit understating the danger of it. But at this point, I feel
like I said, I forget it exists like the majority of the time.
And if you've chosen not to get vaccinated, good for you. That's your choice, and roll the dice, and that's fine. If I've chosen to, then that's my business, and what difference does it make at this point? But
yeah, exactly. At this point, it shouldn't really matter.
So, all right. Well, hopefully the Red Sox do avoid the sweep by the time this podcast. Well, they won't be done by the time the podcast is over, but hopefully by the end of tonight, they will have avoided the sweep in Toronto, and we can take a deep breath and keep our fingers crossed that our guys decide to get vaccinated, or Canada decides to lift their rules by the time the playoffs come around, which is possible. I mean, with Kyrie, that New York, he didn't play forever, and then New York lifted it for the playoffs. I don't know if it was specifically for the playoffs, but they did lift it in time for the playoffs. So who knows?
So another thing on that. So the New York Yankees, they had Aaron Judge and Anthony Rizzo were not vaccinated before the season. And they're like, okay, we're going to be a playoff contender. We're going to be going to Canada. We're going to have to get it. And those two players upped and got vaccinated just so
they did.
Play. Yes.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So it's not unprecedented that some of these guys who didn't originally get it decided to get it.
And so the Yankees are 4-2 in Toronto, and the Red Sox are 1-4 in Toronto.
Oh. Ouch. That is not good. All right, Rubber Shoes, you'll have the score tomorrow morning on the rant and wrap up, I'm sure.
Hopefully it's positive.
Yes, we're fingers crossed. Otherwise, you might have a broken camera because Rubber Shoes threw his phone across the room because they got swept in Toronto. That would be awful.
It just sucks that it's against a team that you're really fighting for, playoff spots. I think they're gonna be okay in making one of the wild card spots, but this is a team that you're probably going to be playing in the playoffs that you got a losing record against, and I'd like to see them have their full squad and step up.
I mean, and your whole thing with the playoffs, if the playoffs started today, which is such kind of a silly thing before the All-Star break to even say, but they could potentially be the third spot, and then Toronto has to come to us for 3 games. So
true.
But I do think that's really weird that they have the play in and you get 3 home games if you're the higher seed. It's like so stupid.
Incentive to
right
one of those top tier wild card teams. So it's the top wild card team, and then so they might it's like they change all this stuff all the time. So I want to see what the divisions is. East. So there's only 3 divisions. So it must be the top 2 teams get buys, and then the next 4. Yeah, so that's what it is. The next 4 teams. So the lowest seed division winner gets gets the home field, and then the top wild card team gets the home field.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully we don't have to worry about it. But if we do, maybe the brass will convince these guys to get their vaccine so they can play, because we want to be at full strength
this year. That actually makes sense.
Well, I think we need to. I feel like it's a Danny Ainge situation. We got to get rid of our GM to actually make any moves.
Yeah, because last year it's like, so they still don't have a guy who plays first base. Dahlback is not a first baseman, and Dahlback and Cordero are not. They're sharing first base. Neither of them are first baseman, and they're borderline hitters as well.
Yeah.
So last year they got Kyle Schwarber at the deadline, who wasn't a first baseman either, and they kind of forced him, and he made errors over there. If you have a guy that can hit, then you kind of will take less defensively, but it's nice to have a guy like so they were talking about Mankiewicz back in 2004. Like, he was a defensive replacement type guy.
Right.
You put in, you get a lead, you got a guy that's solid defensively. They don't have anyone to put over there right now that is a solid first baseman defensively.
I just never have any hope that we're going to make moves. I just feel like none of our teams make moves at the deadline, but we'll keep our fingers crossed, because you're right. I mean,
actually have hope with the Celtics with Stevens.
Well, this past year was the first year the Celtics actually did something. So I will give them that. But
is that a good way to transition?
Yeah.
Hold on. Before we leave baseball for 1 second, we just wanted, your dad and I wanted to talk about the Brockton Rocks, because people are talking about I don't know if you guys probably have not been down to a game, but the Brockton Rocks are a minor league team, I guess. I don't really know that much about it. Rubber Shoes, you probably know more about it. But the reason it's noteworthy is not because there are any sort of excitement going on, aside from the fact that they have Manny Ramirez's son, Pedro's son, and Big Poppy's son, as well as Keith Folk's son and Gary Sheffield's son, all on the same team.
Yep.
Playing in Brockton.
Yes.
They're getting 1,500 people a day to come to these games. So if you're feeling any nostalgia for our very favorite Red Sox teams that had Manny and Pedro and Poppy on them, you could potentially get taken back into time and go see the Brockton Rocks. And apparently these guys, as you would, your son's playing, show up periodically to the games. So it's kind of a fun thing.
So yeah,
right.
And so if you out there in the YouTubeverse,
oh, I like that. That's new. I like that. That's good.
Brockton Rocks used to be an independent league team. They had no affiliation with any teams, and they were just they didn't have players that, once in a while they would have a guy come through there that might make it to major league squad. But they have changed. They are now like a future stars team.
Yeah.
So it's almost like if like in hockey, they have the junior leagues that the 16, 17-year-olds play in. So this is, from the little bit I've heard about it, that's what this is. These are young kids, they're future superstars. So you get to see them when they're really young, before they even get drafted. So these are potential kids that could be drafted by Major League Baseball.
That's cool. And we were just talking last week about the lack of superstars that are in the league right now. If not to put anything on these guys' shoulders, because of course they're very young, but if you had guys coming up that were sons of former superstars, that gives them a certain cachet before they even get into the league, right? No matter what they do.
So that's like there were 3 players on Toronto. I don't know what happened to Biggio. Craig Biggio's son is on the team. I haven't seen him playing, so I don't know if he's hurt or if he's not playing up the par. But Bo Bichette, who is Dante Bichette's son, Dante Bichette used to be with the Red Sox at one point. He is a really good player. He's on Toronto, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is on Toronto as well, and that's Vlad Guerrero's son. Both are all-stars, very good players. So but still, I don't know. Baseball has a problem, a superstar problem, but as far as promoting their players.
I mean, if one of these kids got on the Red Sox, you know that would sell some tickets.
Yeah,
it's not going to sell. He's not going to sell the games out, but the Red Sox do a pretty good job anyway, selling out the stadium. But
I think that's what the problem is. It's where these stars are right now. So
it's still
I mean, you have Devers and Bogarts on the Red Sox, and it's like it doesn't. I don't know.
It just feels like they're really good players there on the Red Sox. I feel like even the best player in the MLB, it's not like, Yeah,
they don't have big personalities like
correct. It's not like
right.
Like even I know you don't like LeBron, but he stays in the rotation of conversation because he's like a polarizing figure.
I think
like
Fernando Tatis Jr., another former player's son that's on the Padres.
He's the closest to being that type of person.
Yes, but he's been hurt a lot the last 2 years.
Yeah, he hasn't. That's right when he hit that like spot of like just about to be the top guy, he hasn't been playing, and that's it.
Right. Well, we touched on this a lot last week, but I think it's really cool that, just down the street from Fenway, there's this team that you could potentially go see these guys play, which is really fun. I mean, I don't know if you guys ever went to a Cape League game, but the Cape League games are super fun too. Cape League, I guess, is just a step or two above the Brockton Rocks, from what I understand. But
it's mostly college players that play down there now.
Right. I'm excited to go. I always love going down to the Cape, and it's like there's some excitement around those games. So hopefully I'll be able to catch one this year. I'm not sure.
When I went down, I used to always go see a Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox game.
Oh, cool.
One. Yep.
Yeah, that's cool. All right. Now, Little Shoes has been champing at the bit all show long to talk about NBA.
We're in like the worst. We're in the dead area of this show, like of stuff to talk about.
100%. When your dad and I were on, when we first got on, we're like, so what are we talking about? Well, Red Sox, and then it just went silent. It was like, I'm not really sure what else to talk about.
Is this really all we have else to talk about? Is basketball really?
Well, yeah, we're gonna talk. Yeah. We'll talk about the NBA free agency, which is coming up July 1st. I mean, it's not like it's
3 days,
not topical. And then we were going to talk about a couple of WNBA things, of course. So, Little Shoes, you kick it off.
Well, I think the biggest thing concerning Celtics, at least, is the fact that Bradley Beal is a free agent as of right now.
Okay, you think
he opted out officially?
Yeah, he opted out today. So I guess this is news to you.
Oh, we did. That is news. No. That's breaking news. I didn't see that.
That happened like maybe at like 3:00 or something like that.
Yeah, I know today was the final day for them.
About like 2 hours ago, he declined his player option. James Harden also declined his option. It looks more likely that Harden will go with the 76ers, whereas the only way for Bradley Beal to go back with Washington is if they give him a 5-year max.
I can't see Washington. I mean, they might do it, but if I was in charge of the Wizards, I'd be like, this guy's done nothing. I mean, he's a good player, but he's a good player.
The direction that team is going in, it doesn't work to. And I actually did, if I recall, let me double check because there was a trade this morning. Yeah, and also they traded Caldwell Pope and Ish Smith this morning. The Wizards did for Will Barton and Mont Morris, so they're kind of clean in house.
It would
of people that have been established players like. KCP isn't really going to have a big future if they kept him. KCP is one of those guys you kind of want on a team where it's like you have a chance to be, championship contender.
Yeah.
So that definitely shows they're not really trying much.
I have to say that I am not a big fan of bringing in Bradley Beal to the Celtics. I think he's an excellent player. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a stand-up guy. I don't think he would do anything to the chemistry that would be damaging. I think he would be a good addition. But I don't think the Celtics are a superstar away from a championship. I think they are a role guy away from a championship.
This is like a double-edged sword for me. But see, sorry.
No, go ahead. You jump in if you have a comment about it.
there's a way that if we brought in Bradley Beal and schemed it right, it would work. But Bradley Beal is not the type of player for that, because Bradley Beal averages like 35 points a game. If he were to be able to transition into a role as a point guard and then have Marcus Smart going as the sixth man, I think it would work. But I don't think that's going to happen, which also ties me to the whole what Marcus Smart said about people slandering him for being partially the reason we lost because we didn't have a proper point guard. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah.
Which
I got to be honest. I think people need to get off of Marcus Smart's back, and I think they need to get off Jaylen Brown's back. I mean, if it wasn't for Jaylen Brown, we're not even in Game 5.
I don't know why Jaylen Brown gets that much crap.
Yeah, I think, I mean, the turnovers, it's because the turnovers were glaring. You see him go and just lose the ball.
But even though Tatum did have much more.
If I had to pick an MVP for the Celtics, I would have picked Jaylen Brown.
100%. 100%.
And it's not actually Marcus Smart was pissing me off, but it's not because of the reason for this. I don't think that the whole, like, it's not Marcus Smart's fault, like how he plays. It's just, I do think it is a point that if we had someone different at a point guard role in there to have more impact, we would be better off. But I don't think it's to like the detriment of like, oh, Marcus Smart's playing like crap. It's just, he's not the type, like, I don't think of him as like a true point guard, you know?
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah. So I would say, here's the thing. This is what I would say about Marcus Smart. Okay. If you have somebody other than Derek White, as not that I don't like Derek White too, I think he's a good defender. I think he gets in his own head on offense too much because he just like lost it at the end of that last series.
Yeah. After he was killing it.
If you have a knockdown shooter, if like your final five of the game is Tatum, Brown, Marcus Smart, Robert Williams, and then a knockdown shooter that's not Derek White, that's somebody that is consistently going to shoot the ball well. Marcus Smart isn't taking those threes at the end of the game because
he is. He just shouldn't be.
No, but I'm saying he did in this series. He did in the playoff run, but he doesn't have to because you've got three guys that can knock down shots, right, and all he has to do is make the right pass. I feel like I'm confident in him that he would make the right pass if you had that extra guy that could knock down a shot.
Say not in that. If not a knockdown shooter, who would be a type of person you would want at point guard for us?
I mean, I don't think there's a guy out there that I would take, to be honest with you, with our financial situation, our cap space.
I'm just saying, not even like as like a legible, like actual like possibility, just as in your ideal situation, what would be the type of, not even like, oh, I want Steph Curry, just like a Steph Curry-like player or something like that at point.
I think Brunson would be a good addition.
Which that's not happening.
Well, because he went to the Knicks.
He went to the Knicks for $100
John
million.
Wall. I would like John Wall. I know he's
gone to the Clippers.
He hasn't signed there yet. He says he would like to sign with the Clippers.
I believe it's
yeah.
Same with I don't know if you saw as well, but PJ Tucker's going to the 76ers.
Oh, see, that's Beal is probably the only possibility for a blockbuster signing.
Yes, the other people that are in our trajectory seem to be Jay Crowder and TJ Warren.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Which both of them would fit our type of gritty defensive.
Great if you figure if they could add Beal, so you add Beal, you make Marcus a sixth man. You're now pushing Derek White further down the bench where he's coming on against the other squads. Third and fourth player, tier players. That better for the team. If that's the thing. I think they have the right pieces. They just need a couple more middle range guys and push the Pritchards and the Derek Whites further down the bench, but they're still playing.
Right, because you can rely more.
I don't want to keep it just an 8-man rotation. I think that's what kind of hurt them is that
killed them in the.
And I think what also might go into this too, where because I think a lot of people would say maybe like, look at what happened with Kyrie. I think, and this has nothing to do with like Kyrie being like weirdo, whatever. A big difference between like Bradley Beal possibly coming now and Kyrie Irving then is that Jalen and Tatum have developed a lot more and are a lot like just older.
Yeah.
Whereas like when you have a one of the best players in the world join your team and you've only been in the NBA for 2 years, you're not gonna, fight for your, minutes and getting the ball and all that because you're obviously like, oh, this is Kyrie freaking Irving, Whereas now Tatum and Beal are on the same level and obviously they get along, and same with Brown, where they're more mature to be able to take their role, whereas back then it wasn't as much. You know what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying. I think Bradley Beal is way too ball dominant for what we have. And I think Marcus Smart would get pissed and try to walk. I think it disrupts all of the chemistry that we have.
I don't feel that way, actually.
Well, yeah,
the only person I would be concerned about is Jaylen Brown. I don't think even the way Tatum plays, just the connection he has with Beal, I feel like they would be able to make it work.
So I think Bradley Beal is a ball dominant player because he has to be.
And also, who the hell else does he have on the freaking Wizards to play with?
True. True.
I mean, that's the same thing with when John Wall was on the Wizards. He was ball dominant because he had to be. There was no one else that was going to score on that team. So
it's different to like a guy like James Harden, where he was on an actually really good team and was still ball hogging.
No, I think when he first got to the Nets, he was playing more point guard and distributing.
Yeah, no, he was doing better, but I'm saying it's a different situation.
The Philadelphia situation was just horrible.
The Philadelphia situation is still horrible. I mean,
because it said he declined it, but isn't. I'll read the exact quote. James Harden has declined his option, keeps open possibility of new deal to give 76ers roster flexibility.
I mean, is anybody signing him to a 5-year deal? Why would you sign him to a 5-year deal?
Like right now, he's a guy that should be chasing a championship. He should be doing anything for a team to get a championship.
Which that seems like he might be taking a pay cut to make it work with 76ers.
Yeah. But where does he go?
I still don't think they're getting crap.
What's that?
Where does he go? Where does he go to chase a championship?
No, but he's saying that he might take less, stay in Philadelphia so they can add the pieces to make that a championship.
That's how it's being reported.
Yeah.
Is that he's not declining because he's leaving. He's declining so he can give them more space to get a better team.
Structure.
I just think Philly is like 4 or 5 pieces away. I don't think they're 1 or 2 pieces
away. I don't think Philly are getting anything.
Yeah. I mean,
I could slander and beat
Brooklyn is almost closer than Philly because
I think the Jay Crowder rumor to the Celtics, I think he would be a great fit.
I loved Jay Crowder when he was here.
I loved him. He's a hard-nosed defensive player, and he can hit a 3.
Yep.
Do you also I don't know how much he's been in the rumors, but I know it's very possible that his team will be moving on from him. How would you feel about D'Angelo Russell?
I think so. To me, I think Russell is older than I think he is.
Yeah.
He was I think the year before Lonzo, or maybe no, he's like 20, same year as Nick Young, maybe. So like 2014, 2015 he got drafted.
So he's around
and where does he play?
Same year as Booker and Karl Anthony Towns. I don't know why I didn't just say that.
All right, so he should be right there in his prime.
Because he was like, he went that year in Brooklyn where he hit All-Star.
Yeah.
And he was like on track to be a superstar, and then they blew it up. He got put in a situation the Warriors that didn't work, stuck with this Timberwolves. So you're not sure how much he is, but I feel like even at the role he is with Minnesota, if we got that, he would be a pretty good piece.
I think he would be a good addition.
I don't think first of all, I don't think we're gonna make a major move. I think Bradley Beal's probably, like you said, Rubber Shoes the closest thing that we would see to a blockbuster. I don't even see it happening, to be honest.
I think everything else is role players.
Because I think I look at
D'Angelo Russell would be a role player if they.
True. Russell's like a lesser Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
So it would work.
I think the other spot that they're really hurting in is somebody to handle the ball when Marcus Smart is out. Down the stretch in the playoffs, they just didn't have anybody that could make plays on their own. Like Peyton Pritchard showed glimpses of it, and I know he's younger. He's not quite matured yet. I think he's still a little bit older than Tatum, but still, that's pretty young for a player in the NBA. But they just didn't have anybody that could take somebody off the dribble and open things up when Marcus Smart wasn't in the game. And even Marcus Smart's not lighting the world on fire in that category, but at least he could do it from time to time. The games that they won were the games that Derek White was doing that. when he was taking people off the dribble and either making the right pass out to kick it out to somebody for a three, or, that little floater that he does in the middle of the lane, which, he made a good percentage of the time when he was on. So I don't know. I think I think we'll probably get a role player or two to come in and,
at the end of the day, like we made the NBA finals. It's not like we're in a rough shape.
Exactly.
Even because once again, like small things happen, and this could be a completely different conversation. We could have won the championship.
Right.
So it's not like
you got to remember that. Okay, the other teams are gonna get healthier, possibly.
Right. Like I just said,
Middleton will be with the Bucks again.
Yep.
They're probably gonna do some tweaking.
I've heard some possible Derrick Rose to Milwaukee.
The Nets are a wild card because you
have no idea.
Ben Simmons and Kyrie both say, you know what, I think I want to actually play basketball and not be into all this other BS.
It could be,
You still have the greatest player
on paper. That's
right. Durant.
And even it's not like I think they're gonna go far, but I mean, the Hawks getting DeJounte Murray that's another big piece for them.
Yeah.
That's another all-star out of that team that did make the
team.
playoffs.
They're not a top 3 team, but that makes them a better team. Yeah.
But that's still like that's no cakewalk to meet in the playoffs, is what I'm saying.
Right.
On paper, at least.
I don't know if this player exists right now in the NBA. Possibly Duncan Robinson is this player, but that like the JJ Redick type player.
Yeah.
When Duncan Robinson wants to actually do well.
Yeah. Duncan Robinson was that, in the bubble
before he got all that money. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think Duncan Robinson he's just one of these guys that gets in his own head. And we've already got 2 or 3 of those guys that get in their own head.
Yeah.
Also, another guy, he wouldn't be here, but I would like a player like Joe Harris.
Oh yeah,
knockdown 3-point shooter and defense. He would fit perfectly in the Celtics role.
Yeah. I don't know that we're gonna have any shot at him.
Correct. No, I'm not. He's not going anywhere. But a player like him, it would be perfect.
Yeah.
I always thought Buddy Hield would be a good addition to our team, but there's always rumors, but he never, they finally traded him, but he didn't come to us. But I always thought like he would be a good fit for our team.
Another person on the rumor mill was Patty Mills from the Nets. He could potentially do something for us. He's old though. He kills us, but he never kills anybody else. I know. So we'll see.
I look at, he'll play against us and I'll be like, wow, this guy's pretty good. And then I'll look at his stats for the season. I was like, this guy sucks.
I know. We have
Who's that dude that was on the Wizard? The white dude? No, always hit threes against us and no one else. He was like a center. He was like ginger, I think. He was on the Wizard. I don't remember. He got traded.
The only ginger I remember is Scal.
Is that the guy that's on the Hawks right now?
Maybe he's on the Hawks now. He was on the Wizards like last year. And every single game we played him, he would go for like 25 points.
Yeah, I think he's on what the hell's his name?
I don't remember his name.
He's very memorable, clearly.
Yeah.
All right, July 1st, I think, is the start to free agency. So we'll see a lot. We'll have a lot of these answered questions probably by next week when we come back to the show.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. I feel like definitely James Harden will go back because now I'm thinking they're going to give PJ Tucker $30 million and they technically don't have that money yet. So James going out of that gives them that money when free agency starts so they can sign him. Then they'll probably sign Harden for whatever they have left.
I think, as is the case with last year, I think we'll have a lot of answers by the end of the day on July 1st.
Well, we're gonna. I have a feeling once we're done with this show, there's gonna be a lot of
announcements.
Usually,
yeah,
because it's usually not
you're not supposed to be tampering, but all of a sudden, all these rumors.
Like we all knew that Kyrie and KD were going to the Nets before free agency happened.
Right, of course.
Before Friday, we'll know pretty much what's going on.
It's always fun though. It's always very fun.
Yeah,
it's fun, and then it gets boring after the free agency is done.
2 hours.
So it's boring. Yeah. All right. So we will talk much more about this next week.
Definitely.
We are hopefully
we have some exciting news for the Celtics next week.
Hopefully we are. It's live right now. It says it's live.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're live. I haven't checked.
I have checked it on.
Oh, you checked it. All right. All right. Good.
I shared it on Facebook.
Who needs Timmy? Who needs Timmy? We'll just be AB right now. No, I'm just kidding.
We don't have the fancy open like
yeah.
That's it.
Timmy's got us looking professional. We're just a bunch of schlubs doing it from our living rooms and basements. But hopefully next week we will be live again on YouTube, so you can check it out. And anytime, if you forget where we are on the web, you can just go to atbshow.com. Before we go, we want to talk about a little bit about the WNBA. Rubber Shoes, to his credit, Rubber Shoes has brought this up to me twice in back-to-back weeks. Last week, he surprised me with some conversation about the WNBA. This week, we talked about it on our rundown of the show. Now, I know it's kind of a dead time in sports, but he wanted to talk a little bit about it. So, Rubber Shoes, I will let you start with what you wanted to talk about with the
quickly.
WNBA.
I also just want to make fun of the Lakers because Russell Westbrook's getting his extension and getting $47 million. I think that's hilarious. Anyways,
Yes.
I'm just checking over to make sure there's nothing I missed before we leave.
All right. So, Rubber Shoes, you go with the first topic you want to talk about.
Can I one more very quick?
Oh, God.
Sorry. It's possible. It's quite possible that RJ Barrett might be out of the Knicks. Would that be someone you'd want?
Yes.
Of course.
I think he would be a great fit because no one wants to give him the money there. They had some meeting where no one wanted to. So
I think we should re-nickname Little Shoes to the Ticker because we'll try and move on. And he's just like, breaking news. I've got breaking news.
That seems to be it there. Yeah.
All right. We've got that covered. We got all the breaking news covered.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good. All right. Rubber Shoes, you're up. What do you want to talk about?
Yeah. So I did mention it. Like I said, I didn't, was it Brittany Gaynor?
Brittany Griner. Yes.
Griner. That was close. All right.
That's pretty good.
As I was explaining to Adam before the show, when I'm at the gym, the ESPN is on. I don't hear what's being talked about, but I always see the scroll down in the bottom and they'll have the headlines down the bottom. So, this story is crazy.
It is.
She's still there.
Right.
And it's for, I guess it's the equivalent of being caught with a joint.
Wow.
And that if she's convicted, that she could do like 6 years in jail or more. You said it could be even
I think it's 10. Yeah, I just read that it's 10.
10 years in jail for having a joint basically on you.
And the other thing that was crazy that I read is in Russia, less than 1% of people who go on trial are acquitted on criminal cases.
Yeah.
So the likelihood that she's going to be acquitted is not almost at all likely.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yep.
And the thing is, what's even worse about this whole situation, I think, and it highlights one of the biggest problems with being a female professional basketball player, is that these women have to go to Russia to make a living because they're not making a living, a huge living in the WNBA. And
so was she playing over there like on the off season? And she's a WNBA player also, right? So
she is. Yeah.
So she's missing pay right now by not being.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's really a sad story altogether. I've watched a handful of not documentaries, but like stories about the teams in Russia, and they loved women's basketball in Russia. That's why it's like such a big deal. Yeah. And all of the teams are owned by like criminals basically, but they have to go over there because they pay them big sums of money. It's like they're NBA players over there, and over here they're like, an amateur hour at the WNBA. I hate to say it that way, just only from a pay standpoint. Obviously, I don't think that about the product that they're putting out there, but the fact that these women aren't, they got the New York Liberty last year got fined because their ownership wanted to give their team chartered flights to and from games. It's like the NBA teams have their own planes. Like, it's ridiculous. Yeah. And I get the financial piece of it, but it at some point you have to think about, it's like, we're sending these women overseas to play, and then they're coming back here. Your product's never going to be as good as the NBA because they're playing half the season that the NBA is playing. They're playing year round because they have to make money. And then they're playing in hostile environments. Russia is a hostile environment, even though they love, women's basketball. It's a hostile environment for any American to go over to, especially now.
Yeah.
So, apparently there's some discussions with, President Biden, who is trying to get her released. Obviously, the situation is very tenuous because of the war that's happening,
Yeah.
and our position in the war. But so there's not really any movement on it. She was in court this past week to I don't know. It wasn't sentencing. It was something other than sentencing, but some preliminary reason to be in court. And they moved her trial date 6 months. So now 6 months from now, she's going to stay in jail for 6 months before she even gets a trial. So it's a terrible situation. But let's hope that it gets resolved relatively quickly.
Well, if anything, this will teach people when you're in another country, you got to learn what's
learn the laws. That's right.
Because
before we go, do you want to do a quick? I just got like some of the biggest free agents. Do you want me to just go down real quick? You just give a thumbs up or thumbs down if you'd want them.
Well, let me just finish the WNBA piece real quick
because I have.
We can do that to close out the show. So just one other thing, a positive story from the WNBA is today. Unfortunately for me, because she did it against the Connecticut Sun. The Chicago Sky beat the Connecticut Sun 91-83, but Candace Parker was the WNBA champion last year. First WNBA player to score 6,000 points, have 3,000 rebounds, and 1,500 assists in her career, which is, if you think about how many games they play, they're not playing 82 games a year. They're playing, I think, 36 or something small like that. It's a short season. So those numbers are just incredible. And she just surpassed that, putting up a double today. She had 25 and 11, 7 assists and 4 blocks. If you've never seen Candace Parker play, you should watch a game or two because she's just an incredible basketball player. She's got, eyes all around her head, and she can make incredible plays. Every game she makes an incredible play or two. So she's very fun to watch, but she's the first woman in WNBA history in 25 years to score 6,000 points, 3,000 rebounds, and 1,500 assists. So congratulations to Candace Parker.
She has a bunch of triple doubles this year, right? I think
she has 3 this year so far. Yeah, she's been doing and she's 36 years old. So she's what's LeBron's 38. So she's at that level of 8 at that age. So pretty impressive. All right, Little Shoes. Let's close it out. Give us the free agents. We'll just do thumbs up, thumbs down if we want them. This is if we want them to come to the Celtics. That's what we're saying.
Okay. If we even know who they are.
Victor Oladipo.
I'm a thumbs down on him.
He had spurts that he looked like the old player. I wonder if he, another summer of rehab, if he can actually I'll give a thumbs up.
All right.
Zach LaVine.
I don't think that's going to happen,
He's
but I'll give it a thumbs down.
Yeah. So if I'd take him.
Oh, we already did it. Nurkic from the Trailblazers. I wouldn't want him.
I give him I'll go thumbs up.
Miles Bridges.
Thumbs up.
DeAndre Ayton.
Thumbs down.
Oh yeah.
I don't want him.
Malik Monk, who I think would fit really well with us actually.
Yeah, I give him a thumbs up.
I don't know him.
He was on the Lakers last year. He was like the only good player on that team.
Oh,
but besides
very
LeBron
good
James.
3-point shooter. Yeah. Very good 3-point shooter. Andre Drummond.
No,
don't want him.
And lastly, I'll give you Colin Sexton.
I'm gonna go thumbs down on that.
Is he from the Cavs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like him. Yeah.
All right.
I doubt any of those. That list is
that's non-exhaustive.
Oh, Mo Bamba. Sorry, forgot him.
Yeah,
I would just pick him because I like his name, Mo Bamba.
But I think most of those players are gonna be asking for too much money. That we're not.
Yeah, Mo Bamba is one of those like unproven.
I know.
But yeah.
Plus, Zach LaVine just said. I think Zach LaVine has. It's been widely reported that he will re-sign with the Bulls anyway.
Yeah, so he'll be getting the super max.
Yeah, well, deserving. All right. Well, I guess that's it.
All right, we ran it down. Kudos to us for filling an hour of show.
Yeah. And we have nothing to talk about at all.
No.
So, which is all of this will not matter in 3 days.
In like 30 minutes when all the news stories start popping.
If you're watching this right now, share it to everyone because they need all this news now
before it is all meaningless.
Yeah.
All right, fellas, check out atbshow.com. You can get to our Instagram there where you can see tomorrow morning's Rubber Shoes Rant and Wrap Up brought to you by AAA Work Trucks. You can also get to our YouTube channel and our podcast there as well. So atbshow.com. We'll be back next Wednesday, 5 or 5:15. Set your clock to 5:05.
All right.